Why do you gotta be so secretive all the time? Welcome back to the Junk Room, everybody. It's me, the Junkman, coming back at you with a new video. Today, to do something a little different, and I'm gonna join the dark side, the Phantom Menace. I'm gonna give you 10, right here, 10 of the biggest mistakes, according to me, that Disney did with Star Wars, or has done with Star Wars. Before we get started, as always, become a Patreon supporter or a YouTube member. Get some exclusive content like an upcoming Junkman junk box. Don't you want to see my junk? You can if you're a Patreon or member of the YouTube support team. Just go to the description below and you become a member. Or go to that Junkman, or go to the description below and buy a t-shirt to help support the site, like this one. Okay. Thought I'd do something a little different today. I usually don't talk bad about any Star Wars, but sometimes it gets hard. I'm a fan of the new movies. I'm a fan of the sequels. I like them. I love The Force Awakens. Best Star Wars movie since Return of the Jedi. Last Jedi, I like. I can watch it. A lot of that casino stuff. You know what I'm saying? Rise of Skywalker did let me down because they just overcomplicated. It just it was an entertaining movie, but they just, as my buddy Ricky Nelson said, when you try to please everyone, you can't please yourself. And that doesn't go just to garden parties. That works for Star Wars films. So let's not waste any more of your time. Let's rip off Letterman. Maybe I can throw these. Put some sound effects. And look, I actually have them written on the card. So I don't have to do this. And act like I'm reading. Anyway, I'm blabbling here. Number 10. Marketing is too secret. What are you talking about, John? What are you, some kind of fool? What are you talking about? We don't want everything spoiled to us before the movie comes out. They don't even give us, they don't tell us when a trailer's coming. I mean, they have everybody at such a fever pitch by the time a trailer, like, where's the trailer? Where's the trailer? Now, a lot of times this is the fans' fault. Because with the sequels, we learned anyway. There's no trailer at the Super Bowl for the sequel. Okay, Han Solo got a TV commercial, but you know what I'm talking about. And it's usually Celebration, then around August, and then around October. We know that. But it's just not just that. You know, when Lucas went into making the prequels, they would have like a live stream on his website. And that was back in the early 2000s. But it seems like they're just so over-secret about every little detail. They could update their page once a month, 2-3 times a month. Give us concept art. There's so much concept art during the films. It's not going to give away spoilers if they show what an alien looks like that's in the background somewhere, or just say, hey, we're working on this, or hey, here's a video from the set or something. It just seems like they go over the board, go crazy with make everything top secret, where they don't even talk about it. It drives me crazy. You got to feed us fans. You got to keep us interested. You got to keep us hyped up. Because you know, whenever they do release something, I mean, it blows up Twitter, it blows up social media, it's all over the place. So keep us entertained, guys. Keep us at a fever pitch. When we start to get dull, throw something up there on your website, or tweet it out, Facebook it out, whatever. Get us all hyped. Don't be so secretive. I'm not asking for spoilers. I'm not asking for details of the plot. I'm just saying, come on. Most of the time, if there is some news too, it hits rumor sites. I'm talking about real rumor sites, not people like Doom Penis that makes up stuff. I'm talking about real rumors. But Doom Penis, he got all the spoilers right there from his inside source. Okay, if his inside source is Reddit. Reddit. Is that how you say it? Read Reddit and then say, my inside sources tell me. Okay, anyway. At least he's not Mike Zero. So number 10. Too damn secretive. Why do you gotta be so secretive all the time? Get out of here! Number 10, and I meant to pull up some numbers here so I could talk about this and I didn't. I'm sorry, forgive me. The budget's too damn high. Remember that guy that told everybody the rent was too damn high? Well, when it comes to Star Wars, the budget is too damn high. And I'm not just talking about Star Wars. This goes for a lot of the modern big screen adventure movies today, or superhero movies are all high. But with Star Wars, you got an audience that was built into Star Wars, the original trilogy. Us guys like me are getting older. And you got some prequel fans that grew up on Star Wars that like it. But as everybody gets older, your fan base of Star Wars is going to shrink. I don't care if if the sequel movies were the best movies in the world. You're going to start after 40-something years of Star Wars. That market's going to start getting smaller. And not just because of that, you got a lot more competition out there nowadays. Unlike you did like when the original came out, or probably even when the prequel came out. You remember when the originals came out, you had maybe 1 or 2 big blockbuster hit movies. But now you've got one every other week, especially, during the summer. And now the summer movie season's starting even earlier, like March. So you're going to see that budget. You're going to see that profit, starting to shrink. Scale back some of these Star Wars movies. You don't need to spend $500 million to make a movie. Okay, that's probably a little high, but after marketing everything, that's probably about right. Scale it down. Now I know there's a lot of special effects and everything, but it seems like they just throw money at it. Scale it down. Get that budget down. What if you got it to a $150, $200 million budget where you made your money back in a weekend? But I'm no analyst, so maybe I'm wrong about that. Okay. Number 8. Not going to agree. I'll like to see some people say, talk about this one, see what you say. Too many damn Jedis. Too many Jedis. What are you talking about, Junkman? That's Star Wars Jedi Siths. That's what Star Wars is. That's not Star Wars in my book. And I have a book. It's called The Love-Making Secrets of a Junkman. Anyway, too many Jedis. When I was growing up, you knew the story or thought you knew the story. Darth Vader turned mean, killed all the Jedis, Obi-Wan escaped. Then we learned there was a Yoda. So 2. But then what do you learn? I don't know all their names. You got that weird looking girl with the horns all over, Asaka Waka, or Sakataka, whatever her name is. I hate that character. I don't know nothing about her. I just don't like the look of her. And then on that cartoon Rebels, you got people running around with lightsabers, but I think they don't technically call some of them Jedis, and I think they do the same thing with the Sith. They're not Sith, they're Sith Inquisitors, or Sith Villagers, or I don't know. I don't know what I'm talking about. But the whole lore of Star Wars is Vader wiped them all out, Obi-Wan and Yoda escaped. But it just seems like now, with the Rebels cartoon and all those cartoons going, what was it, Rebels and Clone Wars? It just seems like there's too many Jedis between that period of episode 3 and episode 4. There should be 1. Now, I know at the end of episode 3, maybe a year or 2, you could have a few more Jedi, but you got to kill them all out early before Obi-Wan goes on the run. So to me, and maybe the EU did this too, I'm not sure, too many Jedis in Star Wars. To me, Star Wars is always about the rebels versus the Empire. I don't really care about the Jedi stuff. That's one thing about the prequels. It was just so heavy in the Jedis. Number 7. Number 7. Here we go. Bad PR. What are you talking about, Junkman? What do you want them to do? Answer all these YouTube videos where they're bashing Star Wars? Do you want them to come on Twitter and address all the complainers? Yeah, I do. Well, not all of them, but it seems like whenever the fans are upset or fans are just have issues, you don't hear nothing. I think after The Force Awakens, or maybe at least after The Last Jedi, when there was definitely a split. Some people didn't like The Force Awakens. I don't know. There's some people out there who just didn't like anything. I know a guy who didn't like that movie Clifford. So you never know. But let's say after The Last Jedi, okay? After The Last Jedi, there was a definitely rip in the fans. There was a divide. Liked it, hated it, thought it was okay. But for the most part, there was a lot of hate. Kathleen Kennedy could have done a Q&A with the fans at Celebration. Or they could have just have one of their reps come on their Twitter account and stuff. Hey, we know that we kind of let down some of the fans. We're sorry about this. We're going to regroup and look and try to find a way to bring everyone back together. Something. They just seem like they just ignore everything. And while we're at it, some of those people in the Lucasfilm payroll, they get on Twitter and they'll say the dumbest things. They'll make fun of people. They'll call people crybabies. Which, I don't know, I never got that. I see it on Twitter. Man, that guy that wrote the third comic book in the series I like said I was a crybaby about Star Wars. Who cares? Oh, the guy that runs the Star Wars Tumblr page said fans are too bossy. Who cares what the fans say? George Lucas could get on YouTube right now and make a video called I Hate the Junkman, I Wish He Would Die a Slow Death. And you know what? I will still love Star Wars just as much as I love it today. I don't care what anybody says about me. But there's a lot of people that seem to care. And Lucasfilm just needs to address and make the fans at least feel, hey, we're listening to you. That's all I ask. We're listening. This is bad PR, and you got some assholes running Lucasfilm, or at least being vocal, some of the comic book writers and book writers. And I'm not going to get all into that. You can ask Itchy. Okay, did I hit the camera? Shit. We're back. Technical difficulties. Number 6. This one's not as bad as it was. Star Wars no longer feels special. That's one thing I loved about Star Wars. You got Star Wars. 3 years later, you got Star Wars. 3 years later, you got Star Wars. You got some TV stuff, Then what? 16 years later, you had Star Wars. Everyone's fever pitch for it. 3 years, a big break. And then you had The Force Awakens. Then the following year, you had Rogue One. The following year, The Last Jedi. A few months later, you had Solo. So the hype's gone. Now, it seems like no movie really gets the hype it used to. You're not going to see people camping out for movie tickets or for good seats at the theater like it used to. Miss those days. Remember those days before the Phantom Menace when people would be out camping in front of the theater months before the film got released? I don't think we'll ever get back there again for movies, but Star Wars should feel like an event. It shouldn't feel like, here's another movie. It shouldn't be like Marvel. Marvel, you can do 2 or 3 a year. Now they have been taking a break, they say, after the Rise of Skywalker, and hopefully they're going to say, hey, let's scale this back. What they should do is the movie should be special. Use your Disney Plus and all that for your TV. And that seems to be where they're going now. I hope it is. Because I miss that hype. I miss that, oh man. And that's nothing again. I mean, you can't do a movie every year. You can't do 2 movies a year for sure. And still expect people to have that hype. But when Disney bought it from Lucas, you kind of knew they were going to milk it as much as they could. Which, can't really blame them, I guess. Oh, number 5. Key issues never get explained. This was mostly Rise of Skywalker. I don't understand this, and I think it's some of J.J. Abrams' mystery box stuff he talks about. I don't get why they just say, hey, let's just do this and not explain stuff. Oh, Snoke is now the leader of the new Empire. We won't explain where it came from or anything. We'll let fans figure it out, or maybe down the road, some book or something. But the worst is Rise of Skywalker. The Emperor blows up in the Return of the Jedi. Now he's back. Is he a clone? I don't know. Do they even say in the movie? I know they show some kind of clone tank with something that looks like Snoke in it. You have to be really focused on to even notice when you go see it. But how do you have a major character like the Emperor come back and it's never even... That should be like at least first 5 minutes of the movie, or they should spend at least 5 to 10 minutes explaining that or something. You don't have the Emperor come back and just say, I think there's a line in there where maybe he's a clone or dark arts or something. It's never explained. I still don't know. And it seems like the more Lucasfilms people try to explain it online, it just makes it even more dumb and confusing than it was. Spend a little bit more time. Now, what I loved about the original trilogy is you didn't need everything explained. I love that. You didn't know what the Clone Wars were. You didn't know what the Clone Wars were. You heard Obi-Wan talk about it. And in your mind, you built your own Clone Wars. You didn't know Luke's father until Empire, and you had all these mysteries. What is this? What is that? But it was minor stuff where you could talk about it and debate it with your friends. That's why it never bothered me. People was like, they set up Knights of Ren and never did anything with it. No, they mentioned it, and it was up to you to figure out the rest. It didn't need to be explained. We didn't need to see the Knights of Ren. You know, it'd be like getting upset because, and, well, now I can't do that one because they changed it with a special edition. But in the original, where they talk about Jabba, we don't see him. That's like people going to Empire and saying, man, they set up Jabba and we didn't see him. Well, they set up Jabba, we didn't see him until Return of the Jedi. And then he just gets choked out by a woman. Yeah, I said that just to upset some people. Added that woman part. So number 5, you got to explain key issues. You can't just go in there and say, hey, we'll do a book later, or hell, we'll just, who cares? Got to explain it. Number 4. This is one of those unforgivable sins. Unforgivable sins. The old gang never got back together. How do you do that? How do you start a new trilogy movie? And I know what they were going for. You wanted a new crop of kids or actors or characters for the new movies. But at least The Force Awakens should have had all 3 of them together. And as they introduced the new characters and then moved on and kind of used Han, Luke, and Leia as secondary characters. Even if the movie, or just give us some scenes together. You can't hype it up. Star Wars is back. Look who we hired. Harrison Ford. Mark Hamill, Carrie Fisher. We got the original trilogy back. We got the original trio back. Trio. That's 3, right? Yeah. We got the original we got the heroes back. And then you just, Luke and Han never meet. We do get a Leia and them. You know what I'm saying. But they screwed up. There's no doubt about it. I mean, even if you love the movies, you have to admit, that's screwed up. That's like if somebody got the Beatles back together right before John Lennon died, but they put them all in separate rooms and let them record and write their music, and then it just makes no sense at all. I'll never understand that. Never understand that. Number 3. Buy new underwear and a new pack of combos. Oh, sorry, that's my grocery list. Sorry about that. Number 3. The recasting of Han Solo. Now first, let me get out of the way and say I really love Solo. And I really love that they were doing Solo. What are you talking about, Junkman? Then why are you upset they recast him? First, the guy that played Han Solo was great. Once I heard he was going to play him, I couldn't wait to see it. But you're asking a lot, especially when you're so new into taking over this franchise. You're asking a lot when you take a character so iconic as Han Solo. It's been around over 40 years. Played by Harrison Ford, one of the best actors ever that everyone loves. And you recast him. Start light, Disney. Maybe down the road could have done a young Han Solo or something. But that's asking a lot for people to take in to replacing Han Solo when we just saw Han Solo in The Force Awakens. Again, I like Solo, and yeah, they did recast, Obi-Wan for the prequels, and that was pretty good. And I'm not saying you can't recast Han Solo. It just seemed unnecessary and too soon. It seemed like a lot to ask fans right at taking over Disney to recast Han Solo, and I'm sure that turns some people off, and that's the problem with Solo. Number two. This one, I'll never like the gang getting back together. This one here, I can't comprehend what happened. I can't. You could put me in a room with Kathleen Kennedy, J.J. Abrams, I don't know, Bob Iger, everybody. You could put me in the room with everybody for an hour, and I could ask each one of them for an hour of why. There was no plan for the sequel. Why was no plan? Now, I don't say you have to write out all 3 stories, but you at least needed okay, we're going to start here. We're going to end here. And we'll fill in the middle as we go. I don't know if you've seen it or not. It's been all over the nerd news today. Daisy Ridley was asked, did she know all the time that she was going to be related to Palpatine? And she said no. At first, when they were making Force Awakens, she was going to be related to Obi-Wan Kenobi. And then JJ said she was going to be a nobody, which I kind of like the nobody thing. But then it came while they were making Rise of Skywalker. JJ told her that she was going to be Palpatine's granddaughter. But then he said, nah, they changed that. It's going to be a nobody again. And then Palpatine's daughter again. So it's clear there was no set plan of what to do. Seems like for me again, JJ's mystery box is, hey, I'll set up all these paths of where this story can go, and then let Lucasfilm figure it out. And they hire Rian Johnson. Now, Rian Johnson gets a lot of bashing for no reason. They hired an independent director to give them independent type movie. He gave you the type of movie he makes. He gave you his plan, what he wanted to do, and you said go for it. So you can't blame Rian Johnson for that. You can't. That's like if I said, I think I said this on Twitter earlier today. If I hire someone to paint my house purple, and we agree on the purple, and I paint the house and it looks ugly, or some people riding by the house don't like it, you can't blame the guy that painted the house. Blame the person that agreed to paint the house that color. And again, I like The Last Jedi. And Rian Johnson, from the other films I've seen, has been pretty good. And again, I like Luke Skywalker, believe it or not. I know a lot of people didn't, because they didn't change. I know they wanted him to change more. But, I don't know. But that's number 2. They didn't have a plan. And it's obvious they didn't have a plan. I don't know how you go into making a trilogy with no plan. Sure, Lucas did it with the original trilogy. But they're not Lucas. Number 1, I hold right here in my hand the number 1 biggest mistake Disney has done with Star Wars. Can you believe it? Number 1, what do you think it is? You're like, Junkman, we've been through all this. You said you like Luke, so it's not that. The trio didn't get back together. That should be number 1. They didn't have a story plan. What's going on? What could this be? Well, I'll tell you right there, if you can read my ugly handwriting, but you probably can't. And this one might be controversial, but to me, it was the worst. Number 1, no opening text for Rogue One. That's one of those sins I just can't forgive. No story plan for the sequels. Okay, you screwed up. You didn't have the trilogy. You didn't have the original cast back together in at least one scene. Okay, you fucked up. But how do you do a Star Wars movie at the theater and not have the scrolling text? Star Wars. Dun, 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 dun. To me, that just shows, hey, I don't understand Star Wars. Star Wars, the whole core of Star Wars is a throwback to those 1940s or serial movies that had the opening scroll. Flash Gordon, Chapter 1. Now, from what I understand, Garrett Thomas that did Rogue One, he had an opening scroll they wanted to do, and I think it must have been Kathleen Kennedy or someone said, no, let's make this different. Like, we need to not have an opening text, so when people come in, they know they're not watching part of the trilogy film. It's the stupidest excuse I ever heard. Like anyone bought a ticket to Rogue One and was sitting there saying, hey, I'm going to watch a new chapter of the saga. What? No opening text? This must be a totally different movie and not part of the Skywalker story. It's just a base. I mean, everything. The video games had it. Okay, the Clone Wars cartoon didn't have it. You see how that turned out. Comic books had it. Everything has the opening text. And Rogue One needed that. I know you can say again, you're going to say, oh, they wanted to separate themselves. That's the stupidest excuse I ever heard in my life. Anybody who said, hey, let's take that text off Rogue One or not do a text for Rogue One, they don't understand the basics of Star Wars. The fun, that is Star Wars. That's like doing a Star Wars movie without space, without spaceships, without good versus evil. You just don't do it. It's like doing a Star Wars movie with no John Williams. So that's my number 1 biggest screw up from Disney. taking over Star Wars. Rogue One had no opening text. Then it had that stupid font like somebody made it on their phone. Okay, I'm not trying to be a Star Wars basher here. You know I love them. I don't like doing these bash videos, but I don't know. Ever since that news about Daisy coming out talking about how she was going to be a Kenobi and she's going to be Palpatine's daughter and then she wasn't and she was and all this stuff, just been on my mind. Again, I like some of the sequel stuff. I don't think they did a horrible job with it. Better than some of the prequel stuff. So, let me know in the comments below how I'm wrong, especially with number 1. Tell me how. They had to take the text off. They had to show that it was different. As always, please thumb up my videos so I know you like my content. Subscribe to the channel, and you better believe it. We'll talk again.
Junkman.
Thank you, sir, for that unsolicited testimony.